Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you've all had a good week. The weather's been a bit crap, hasn't it? It's raining now again. It seems to have rained non-stop since Christmas. It's seriously doing me head in. Every time you look out the window nowadays, it's just grey and miserable. It's so depressing. Right, hope I can cheer you up over the next sort of 60 minutes or so. Hope I can cheer myself up over the next 60 minutes. I'll start with a new subscriber. We've got a new one, Stephen Morton. Welcome to the channel, Stephen. Stephen runs a small gaming channel. I've not watched any of his videos yet. I intend to take a look at a couple of them, but I know some of you guys are into your games. So pop over to his channel and have a look. I'll try, if I remember to do it, I'll put a link in the description underneath. I don't always remember to do these things, but it looks like a nice little channel. I think you'll enjoy it. So welcome to the channel, Stephen. Hope you like what we're doing here. The channel is linked to a Facebook group called Retro Movie Zone Chit Chat. We just basically talk about new movies, old movies. There's all sorts of threads going on, all kinds of silliness going on. Lots of banter, all good natured, I promise you. The only thing we ask is that obviously if you decide to start posting, it needs to be movie related. We try to keep it nice as well. There's banter but nothing nasty. So as I say, welcome to the channel, mate. If you feel confident enough, pop over to Retro Movie Zone Chit Chat, hit the join button, and you can see what we're all about. You'll also, I mean, on the videos I do talk about a lot of people on the group. I read out a lot of comments from the last video, so you'll get to know the people that I'm actually talking about. There's a lot of names being thrown about, so I think you'll enjoy it. But as I say, welcome to the channel, mate, and hope you like what we're doing here and the content, etc. So right, I'll start with comments on the last video. Steve Mack, we were talking about Legend, the movie with Tom Cruise. Tony Arrow have done a nice box set of Legend, but in Blu-ray only. It's only in the US and it's region A locked. Oh God, here we go again. I can see that I'm going to have to seriously start looking into getting a multi-region player. I don't know. As I say, I've only just bought this 4K setup, so I'm a bit loath to go through it again. I would love to see Legend again. It was a good movie. I remember watching it when it first came out on VHS. I believe it was on the Thorny MI Big Box label. Really enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but I'm not going to buy a multi-region player just for that one. But as you said last time, the titles that I can't get that I would love to see are stacking up at an alarming rate. So I'm going to have to look at doing something. Let's see, there are 2 cuts. Oh, shame there are no UK rights. I mean, that's obviously the problem, isn't it? Does that mean it's only available in DVD over here? I don't know. I'll have to have a look. But I would imagine the UK rights will be forthcoming at some point. I would have thought so. There's always a way around these things, isn't there? There are 2 cuts, one with the Goldsmith score and the other with the Tangerine Dream soundtrack. I would always watch the Jerry Goldsmith score version. Reason being that that's the version that I remember, and I do remember it being an absolutely beautiful soundtrack. I bought it on vinyl, and I believe I've still got it upstairs somewhere if I can find it. But it was a beautiful piece of music. Absolutely love the soundtrack to that movie. And you say it's in your collection, got lovely gloss photo cards and a nice booklet. It sounds like a nice set. Shame I can't get it. Right, Big Brother, we were talking about Big Brother. Hate Big Brother, but quite like The Traitors. But it has good dramatic production values. I don't think I'll ever watch Big Brother again. I really don't. As far as I'm concerned, that whole thing ran its course 20 years ago, and it was cancelled for a reason, because it just became boring and rubbish. So no, I won't be watching Big Brother. The Traitors, I've seen sort of little trailers on BBC for it, and I'm kind of intrigued by it, but I've got so many other things that I need to get through, that I need to watch, that I'm a bit loath to take on anything sort of reality TV based, unless I can help it. And I think Jason's got a few things to say about that one later on, actually. So thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciate the comments on that one. Mark, Here we go. This is all in weird font. You put capitals and all sorts on this. Just bear with me while I try to wade my way through this. It's strange how you feel the need to edit our punctuation. Oh, right, I get it. I see what you're doing. I wouldn't say I feel the need to do it, and I don't do it to be pompous or anything like that. It just sometimes makes the comments a little bit easier to read. Um, Whatever I say here, it's not going to be right, so I'm going to leave this subject. But I know a couple more people have got stuff to say about this when it's coming up in a couple of seconds, actually. So, but I promise I don't do it to be a smart ass or anything like that. I just do it so that I can basically make the comments on the screen in front of me here easier to read. That's the only reason I do it. I don't give a fuck if you misspell something or put commas or stuff in the right or the wrong place or whatever. But I know, Jason, you're quite particular about that. As you state a little later on. Knowing Lee like I do, he wouldn't have set an alarm for 4 a.m. He'd have already been up for hours and ran a half marathon by 4 a.m. He did used to run. He actually broke I think it was either his ankle or his leg, one way or another, a few weeks ago. So I don't think he'll be running anytime soon. But I think he's all sorted now. But yeah, I was talking about Lee, basically saying that he's probably the first person on a Saturday to watch the video, because he normally gives me a thumbs up. Normally about 4:30 in the morning. So I just assumed he would set an alarm. So we did end up watching the girly reboot version of Ghostbusters. I've already seen it and don't mind it, and my daughter did enjoy it too. You're a bit concerned that she wasn't going to like it, and I think she said something along the lines of, "I'm not watching that shit." I'm glad that one worked out. I did have a little laugh at the thought of a man who worships the ground that Mark Kermode walks on, but also enjoys taking in an episode of South Park. I don't worship the ground that Mark Kermode walks on. I know you lot think I do. I just enjoy his reviews. I love listening to him. He talks about movies in a way that I would love to be able to do, but I'm just not that eloquent. I'm just not. I've not got the movie knowledge to talk about them the way that he does. And there's probably a bit of envy in there, I don't know, because I would love to be able to do that, but I can't. And to be honest, I don't think you guys would want me to start doing that either, because everybody is doing that. They're all doing these smart-ass reviews with catty, horrible comments and this, that and the other. I just can't do that. It's just not me. But I do enjoy listening to other people do it. Mark Kermode has been a favourite of mine for many, many years. And I do enjoy listening to his reviews, and I do listen to his podcast every week. As for worshipping the ground that he walks on, maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe that's how it comes across. Guy, you commented. Tony says, get your... Oh, here we go. Tony says, get your punctuation right. Okay. Now, that's the teacher from South Park, isn't it? I don't know what his name is. He's got that little hand puppet thing, hasn't he, Mr. Hand? I remember that. Jason P. Oh, God. I cut and pasted this onto the notes, but I've not tried to read it yet. It is one continuous sentence with no spaces. I will try it now. I've only seen the first 10 minutes, so I know what Mark's comment was about, but do you know what pisses me off? It's when people don't use commas or the space bar. Oh, fuck. I'm really glad the long comment that you come up with a bit later on ain't all like that. I'd have been there for hours separating the words on that one. Yeah, point taken, guys. Oh, hang on. Jason P also said, you've opened yourself up now to saying you edit your... Hang on, let me try that again. You've opened your... This is what I mean. This is what I mean. I would probably have changed a couple of words in it just because this is what happens. You've opened yourself up now to saying you edit your comments. None of us are offended. It just means we can have more fun on writing some comments. Please don't. Please don't. I'm glad you're not offended, because it wasn't. I didn't say it to offend anybody. As I say, it is just literally to make the comments a little easier for me to read. I can't say any more than that. Let's see. Jason. I think that's it on the on the comment of editing comments. I think that's all we need. Life on Mars, Mark, you started watching it. I think it was last week or the week before. How are you doing with it? Because I am absolutely loving it. Rob adores it, and I didn't think he'd get on with it. He doesn't like that style of police work as portrayed in the 70s. He thinks it's horrible, but he's really getting a kick out of this one, and I don't know why. But he is. But I am absolutely loving it. We're 5 episodes in. I've got one problem. That's the Blu-ray set that I've got for Series 1. I didn't realise this. We watched all of the first disc, which is episodes 1 to 4. Then I moved on to disc 2, which is episodes 5 to 8. Now, we put episode 5 on last night, and straight away, you know how at the end of an episode you get the next time and clips from the next episode? It started and we got 10 minutes into it, and I thought, this is not the episode that was advertised as coming next. Sat and watched it all the way through. Brilliant episode, absolutely. But straight off I went on to Wikipedia after it had finished, and I checked the episode guide, and episode 5 on that disc is actually from season 2. And what we've got here, and I bought this 8 years ago, so there's no chance I can get anything back on it, but what I've got, if you notice, you've got series 1, which has got a sort of a brown disc. Series 2 is blue. Never picked up on it, I really didn't. So we've watched an episode from season 2 already. So what I've had to do is order a fresh copy of this and hope to God it wasn't a running fault when these were actually printed. Hopefully we'll get a proper series 1, which then we can proceed. I mean, it's not desperate because Netflix have got it, and I believe BritBox have got it as well. So we can still carry on with it, but this, now I've watched it, is a set that I want to keep. So I do need another one, but I'm going to give this to the charity shop. My only dilemma is, should I put a note in with it basically saying you'll have to sold this as seen, because it's basically disc 1 from season 1 and season 2 instead of, you know, complete season 1. So don't know what I'm going to do about that, but we'll see. So thanks for the comment, Mark. I'd be curious to know how you're doing with the Life on Mars, but we are absolutely loving it. Callie, morning Callie. Another great episode, hon. We do plan ahead, but in all honesty it depends on the subject and how well we already know the franchise. Yeah, I do try to plan ahead, not the way that you do. I try to spend sort of 15-20 minutes a night just trawling through comments on sort of the group and anything on there that I can talk about, and any movie news and stuff like this. It doesn't always work. It didn't work the week before last. As I say, the video that you lot watched last week was literally thrown together in 2 hours, and it was horrible, and I swore I'd never do that again. Head was all over the place by the time I'd finished making notes. I don't think it came out very well at all. You lot will probably disagree and start being such a tart and just get on with it. So that's what I'm going to do. But I do plan ahead, but not the way that you guys do. Editing our comments, for shame. Oh, I'm not going into this again. You know why I do it. Yeah. The 2016 Ghostbusters, it's okay as long as you switch your brain off and just enjoy the ride. I've yet to watch it, and I will be taking it in, and I don't think I'm going to think it's that bad at all. I reckon I'm going to enjoy it. Early CGI, Tron. I'd forgotten about that one. Yeah, I remember that being remarkable when it first come out. I think I've seen it. I think so. I'm not sure, but I've certainly seen clips of it, and I remember seeing clips of it when it first come out and thinking, my God, that looks amazing. Have they done that? So yeah, you're right, Tron. I completely forgot about that. So that would have been, what, 80 or 81, something like that. That's another franchise I wouldn't mind taking a look at sometimes, is Tron, because there's been, is it 2 or 3 movies? Wouldn't mind taking a look at that. Loved Primal Fear and that twist. You never forget it, do you? You never ever forget that ending. And it is one that I would love to watch again sometime. I don't think Rob's seen it. and I just love to see his face when the twist comes out. He normally picks these things out halfway through, but I don't think he'll see that one coming. I certainly hope not. Anyway, I will always remember the film Legend for one thing only. Tim Curry as the Darkness, remarkable performance, and the makeup was amazing. Um, you've actually made me want to take a look at the movie again, even though we were talking about it earlier, and basically there are no UK rights for a Blu-ray over here, or not for that particular edition. So I think I will take a look and see whether I can get a copy of that one way or another, just to take another look at it. Don't worry about the stutter, hon. Look how many times I trip up on my words. I do worry about it, and I can't help it. It's one of those things that it's sort of crept up on me. There are some weekends I will not do it at all. Everything will go absolutely perfectly. And there are other weekends where it's constantly all the time, just tripping over words. And this is why occasionally I have to talk myself into slowing down. I tend to talk a little bit fast when things are going really well, and I speed up and speed up and speed up, and eventually I fall over. So yeah, it is something that concerns me, but I try not to let it worry me too much, and I don't want it to consume me completely, because at some point, if it carries on the way that it has done, I would be tempted to jack in doing this altogether, but I don't want to do it. I really don't. So I'm going to get the better of it. So don't worry about that. I'm not going to sort of quit on it, but it does worry me, and it does. Let's see. The only reality TV I liked was The Osbournes. The Osbournes was good fun. This again was in the fairly early days of reality TV. It was all quite new back then. So yeah, I did enjoy The Osbournes. And I do like the way they've turned out. Jack has turned into a fine young man with his paranormal series that he does. He really has. He's a credit to him. He really is. As for Kelly, I don't know much about what she's been doing. Sharon is amazing, as we know. And Ozzy, bless him. He does try. He's just a legend, an absolute legend. So yes, I did like the Osbournes. I've heard of Narrow Margin, but can't remember if I've seen it or not. It was on Legend last night, actually, and I watched the first 10 minutes and loved it. I would love to get a Blu-ray copy of that, but I don't believe there's one available. I think I did look, but I think it was about 30 quid. I don't think it's a UK release. I think it's a European one. But it is a movie that I would love to take in again. I did enjoy it an awful lot. And if you like Hitchcock movies like Vertigo, Rear Window, that kind of thing, it's just amazing. Myself and Guy are planning on going to watch Kingdom when it comes out. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm guessing it's going to look majorly brilliant on a big screen. I don't know whether we've got an IMAX anywhere near close, but I'm guessing from what Kermo says about IMAX, it's going to look bloody brilliant on that. So, yeah, look forward to your review on that one. I think it's out fairly soon, isn't it? I shall hold on till it streams, or I will almost certainly treat myself to that one on 4K. Very good possibility. The only horror film I've liked in the last 10 years is the Hatchet franchise, as it's a good 80s throwback. Loved the original Hatchet, and I loved the second one. Don't know whether I've seen the third. There might even be a fourth one. The gore was very comic book, wasn't it? It wasn't gore as we used to know it. It was so unbelievably over the top. A bit like Bad Taste was in the 80s. But a cracking movie. I did enjoy the original Hatchet, even though I spent most of it going, oh God, oh bloody hell, oh Jesus. It was good, really, really good. E.T. and Charlie Chaplin. Now there's a crossover waiting to happen. I can't remember what I said about that. You're going to have to tell me what that was all about. I was talking about Chaplin, and I probably mentioned E.T. at some point. I don't know. The Book of the Dead was around £100, but yeah, leave your credit card at home. I think I'm going to need to, because if it's £100, I will class that as quite reasonable, and I will almost certainly be invested in it. I won't be going down there until the next time I'm off work, But if they've got it in, there's a very good chance that I will be coming home with that. So thanks ever so much for that, Callie. Always good to hear from you. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja. I didn't leave a comment. What? You didn't? Probably due to working at the same time and getting distracted. I shall hang my head in shame and make sure I make up for it. So you should. Bloody hell. Throwing things together at the last moment. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. It doesn't look that way, Jace. I know you've left a couple of outtakes in, which I always enjoy. I had 5 or 6 false starts this morning, even though I promised I was just going to leave it running. So I'll probably either try to put them at the beginning of this or do a little blooper reel, which will last about 30 seconds, but I think you'll probably get a kick out of it. Late Night with the Devil. I really don't see you not enjoying it. It's a really well-made, well-paced film. However, the ending, well, I'm going to leave that up to you. I think it's somewhat open to interpretation. Not again. How many more times do we have to go through this? Why do they have to go for these artsy, fartsy endings? I'm really looking forward to the movie, and I will be watching it. But I feel now pre-warned about the ending. From what you've said, it's obviously not going to make any bloody sense whatsoever. So I will watch it, and I shall give you my thoughts when I have watched it. I'm looking forward to it. The trailer looks bloody amazing. I don't know why they have to end them like this. Why does it have to happen? We watched one last night, and I'll be giving you my thoughts on it on the next video. I've got to get some notes on this one called Infested. I'll say nothing more than if you don't like spiders, if you're arachnophobic, avoid this movie at all costs. I literally was a nervous wreck by the time this movie had finished. It had so many jump scares, so many scenes that got literally make your skin crawl. But it's a French movie. It's a new one. It's streaming on Shudder at the moment. So if you get a chance to watch it, any of you, take a look and let me know what you think. But believe me, I was not in a good way by the time that movie finished last night. But I'll tell you more next week. I've got some notes together on that one. Grizzly. I was watching Grizzly last week. It's like a pizza. A cheese pizza with extra cheese. It's nothing special, but it fills the time and isn't terrible. No, it isn't terrible. I know, Jason, you hated it. Jason Barry, you hated it with a passion. You just thought it was complete and utter shite, I believe was the word you used. One of your favourites. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Yes, it's a bit dated. Yes, it is cheesy. Yes, the violence isn't brilliant. And the acting from everybody but the leads was questionable, to say the least. But you know what? It was a good way to spend 90 minutes, and I really, really enjoyed it, and so did Rob. So I loved Fallout, and yes, I am a fan of the games dating back to the original. Highly recommend the show, even if you have never played the games. This is one that I think I'm going to need to take in at some point. But as I've said before, I need to tie up a lot of loose ends. I've got 3 or 4 series on the go at the moment. As for franchises, I must have 3 or 4 franchises that I need to finish off before I move on to anything else. So yeah, Fallout, I'm going to add that to my watch list on Prime so that I don't forget about it, and I'll also stick it on my Letterboxd watch list, because everybody's basically telling me that you don't have to have played the game to enjoy it, and it is really, really good. So I will be taking it in at some point. I've heard a lot about Kill List, and I keep meaning to check it out. I just thought it was horrible. I think that was the movie that cemented my, not hatred, but dislike of Ben Wheatley's movies. There's always something really horrible and gnarly in each one. There's one called In the Earth that has a particular scene to do with cutting toes off. I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to watch that, because it is going to be as real as fuck if he's directed it. The only one of his that I enjoyed, and I really did enjoy it, and you're going to love this one, guys, The Meg 2, The Trench. He directed that one. So yes, I did enjoy The Meg 2. But as for the others, I'm not sure that I could stomach any more of his movies. I would love to watch In the Earth, but without that scene, I think I could probably cope with the rest of it. But Kill List, I don't think I'd watch again. It was an unpleasant experience. I've seen it once. I can't see the point in watching it again, putting myself through all that trauma again. So, awesome book. That looks amazing. I just watched one that is sure to be in the book, but it's not out for a couple of weeks on my channel, so got to keep it hush hush. That will be the Animal Attack book, I'll bet you. I'm really curious to know which one this is, and I'm looking forward to that review, whatever it is. It's a cracking book, Jace. It's available on Amazon. I think it was about 13 quid, but worth every penny. Absolutely loved it. Another smashing vid, Tony. Cheers, Jace. Now, I definitely left a comment this week. Yes, you most certainly did. So, there's a couple of other bits that you mentioned. Crocodile, a new movie. We're talking of things on the back of Cocaine Bear, Crack Coon was one, I think. And now we've got Crocodile. I can't find a trailer for this, but it sounds about as subtle as the other one that you posted, which was another Oscar contender, Cocaine Crabs from Outer Space, which I watched the trailer and it looked absolutely ridiculous. It's not one that I'm going to watch, but I've got to admit that last 5 seconds made me howl. Really enjoyed it. Guy, you said a shoe-in for Tony's film of the year right there. Do you know what? You never know. You also posted the Deadpool Wolverine trailer. Now, I wasn't a massive fan of the original Wolverine. The original Deadpool. It's one of those movies that was recommended to me by pretty much everybody. I watched it, got 20 minutes into it and thought, is this the movie everybody's been raving about? Because I just don't get it. So I'm beginning to wonder now whether I need to give it a second chance, because that trailer for Deadpool Wolverine looks absolutely brilliant. Rob Gear, you said can't wait. Lee, let's fucking go, which I didn't realise was a quote from the trailer at the time. Jason P, definitely a cinema visit in July. You're all loving this. Rob Gear, you replied, me too, without hesitation. Peter Simon Graham, 2024's most anticipated movie. It's going to be shit hot. I can feel it in my jingles. What's your jingles? So I've got to say I'm tempted, as the trailer looked awesome. And Madonna's Like a Prayer on the soundtrack. It can't be all bad. It can't be. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to take that in, and I will be giving Deadpool a second chance. And also, obviously, Deadpool 2, which I've not seen at all. I didn't feel the need to watch it with not enjoying the original that much. But I will be taking it in. Trashy Tuesday, loving it, mate. Absolutely loving it. Endgame from 1983 was this week's. I need to find a trailer and have a look at that and see if I can get hold of that one. It looks amazing. I need to watch your review of that just to see what you thought of it. Let's see, what are we on? 2808. I think I can... No, I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to take a break for a couple of seconds and I'll be back very, very shortly. And we're back. Right, I've literally just had a comment drop in on last week's video, so I'll get that one sorted now. It's from Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. Tony, performance is a good Nicholas Roeg film, waiting for it to appear on Criterion. We were talking about Walkabout last week, which is one of my favourite movies ever, absolutely brilliant. And I'm now starting to take an interest in Nicholas Roeg's movies. I've got a copy of Don't Look Now, which I haven't watched yet, and I was also talking about Performance, which is an early film of his from 1970 starring Mick Jagger, and it's either Edward Fox or James Fox. I can't remember which one it is, but I really do need to see this particular movie. I was listening to a podcast either last week or the week before on this particular film, and it sounds absolutely fascinating, right up my street. So if it does appear on Criterion, Steve, I'd appreciate the heads up on that one, because that is a movie that I will definitely be grabbing on Blu-ray or 4K if it does come out on either. So let me know on that one. You were also talking about Traffic. Let's see, Traffic is a Steven Soderbergh movie on Criterion and has a good performance by Michael Douglas. Interesting use of colour filtering employed here. This is another movie that I'm curious about. I've literally just looked it up on Amazon. There are Blu-rays available of it, but they are outrageously expensive, so I'm assuming that they're imports. So I may just have to grab a DVD copy of that at some point. It sounds interesting. It's all to do with the war on drugs. It's based on a mini-series which I believe was shown on Channel 4 in the 80s. I didn't see it, but I know it got great critical acclaim when it came out, so I wouldn't mind a look at that one. So thanks for that, Steve, much appreciated. And as I say, if you hear anything on Performance being released on Blu-ray on Criterion, let me know. It is exactly the kind of movie that they tend to go for. Am I right on that? So thanks for that, Steve. Jason P. Right. Tony says during the video, apparently, I don't watch I'm a Celeb, reality programmes, or Four in a Bed, or any of that shite. Later in the video, I've been watching a programme on Channel 5 on how to use your air fryer. For fuck's sake, the irony. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'd class a cooking show based on air fryers as reality. Well, I suppose it is. All it is, obviously, I bought one a couple of weeks back. It's not even out of the box yet. And all I want to do is get some sort of a handle on how to use it. All I've heard is reports from a lot of people at work. I think most people at work have got them, and they're all saying the same thing. They don't use their ovens anymore. All they use now is the hob. Everything else is done in the air fryer. So I thought it might be an idea to grab a couple of books, one of which I showed off last week, and also to watch a couple of programs to do with air fryer cooking. And I didn't realise until earlier this week Jamie Oliver's got a new series on air fryer recipes, so I'll need to take a look at that. So yes, I do watch the occasional reality shows, but the ones that I hate, as I'm sure you know, is stuff like The Real Housewives, Made in Chelsea, The Only Way is Essex, all of that bollocks. I just can't be doing with it, all that glitzy crap. I do like a good documentary, and I do like the occasional cooking show. I do enjoy the occasional bit of reality TV, just not that nonsense. It just does nothing for me, absolutely nothing. So you are quite right, the irony was there. Let's see. Anyway, on with the show, he says. Great vid as usual. Thanks, Jace. The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I've seen them all and extended versions 3 times now. Yes, they are long, sometimes a bit slow, but the visuals are brilliant. I last watched them during lockdown in 2020 and have no plans to watch them again anytime soon, but I won't part with them. This is to do with the question that I was asking everybody last week about which DVD or box set or Blu-ray box set or whatever would you not part with for any money? What is your proudest possession? So I might as well show mine off now. You have seen this a few times, but what I'm thinking of doing is a little section every week where I'll show off one box set. These 2 are my favourites by a country mile, but I do have quite a few others, so some of them you will have seen and some of them you won't have seen, but these are my 2 favourites. This is my all-time favourite, and you know what this is going to be, Jace. You're shouting at the screen now, it's going to be Close Encounters, isn't it? It is. So this is mostly for Lee Wood. It was Lee that suggested doing this to me a couple of weeks ago. He says just ask everybody what, or he asked me what was my proudest possession. This basically won first place. That was before the second one arrived a couple of weeks ago. So this is a lovely box set. I've shown it off before, but just Lee hasn't seen it, so just bear with me for just a few seconds while I do this. Taking that off, you take the top off, and inside you've got this nice little book on the making of the movie, and you've also got there the Blu-ray and the 4K disc. This was the first 4K movie I ever bought. This was bought probably 3-4 years ago, before I had any inkling whatsoever that I was ever going to be able to afford a 4K player or TV setup. This was just bought on the off chance that one day I'll win the lottery and I'll get the setup to watch it on. And this was the only one that I'd got up until probably a year and a half ago. And what I love about this, and I've done this before, so you're watching this, Lee, here we go. Hang on. How cool is that? The rest of the group have seen that quite a few times. I've shown this off quite a few times. So that's my all-time favourite, absolutely. My second one, and this arrived a couple of weeks ago, courtesy of my good friend Chris, who wanted to send this to me. If you've seen this film, this is from 1979. It's a horror movie. It's the only one of the franchise that I've seen. I believe there are 4 or 5 of these now. That's the little booklet that came with this beautiful set. And here it comes. How cool is that? It's beautiful, isn't it? This is obviously the silver globe with the drill in the front, which it hasn't got. But if I just take the top off, and the movies are all inside. What a thing of beauty that is. The top goes on like that. Now if I put this down, it'll roll off the desk, but luckily it's got this lovely little plastic base that I can just sit it on. But that is gorgeous. This, as I've said before, is going on that shelf behind me, along with a few figures, as soon as I can get those books that you can see cleared off. But those two are easily my favourite and proudest possessions, DVD and Blu-ray wise. So yours, Jason, was the Lord of the Rings ones. So the question is still open to everybody. Have you got a favourite Blu-ray DVD box set, one that you would never part with? Let's see some pictures, or even just a single DVD that you love. What have I got here now? Spider-Man, Spider-Verse, never seen it. Can't be doing with a cartoon Spider-Man. I loved the animated series from 1967. It's the Spider-Man that I grew up with. This was way before Nicholas Hammond did the TV series in 1977. Way before Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland picked up the mantle in the 2000s. Way before that. And that was the Spider-Man that I grew up with, the one with the most amazing, cool soundtrack music on it. That was my favourite Spider-Man. And all I was asking was whether, with watching the franchise now, I've got through the Maguire years, I've got through the Garfield years, I'm now coming on to the Tom Holland movies. Whether the Spider-Verse movies, the animated ones, were part of it. Whether they are or they're not, you obviously don't like them. So the question is out to everybody there. Are they a part of the franchise? Do I need to take those in? They do look impressive, but let me know what the score is with those. Ashes to Ashes is set in the 80s, and this time it's Keeley Hawes. I've heard of her, but I can't place her. Who does she play then? I won't spoil the end of Life on Mars for you. As I say, I'm 5 episodes in, but due to that slight faux pas with the Blu-ray set that I showed earlier on, we're not going to fall behind as such, because, as I've said before, Netflix have got it, and I'm fairly sure BritBox have got it. But I do need to get another set of season 1 with the proper discs in it, because it is a set that I want to keep. I'm loving the series so much, there's no way I want to part with it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it finishes, and when he does, whether he does actually make it home. And we will almost certainly be moving on to Ashes straight after that. I'm not a big fan of horror at all. Freddy, Jason, Michael, Leatherface are my favourites. I don't like supernatural movies, can't stand them. I don't mind psychological horror, as in Last Night in Soho and Don't Breathe were both good. I only really watch horror movies in October. I'm not really fussed with them, to be honest. I kind of have to agree at the moment, Jason. I'll tell you for why, and I've said this before. Horror is not what it used to be. It really isn't. I've said this many times before. Modern horror movies, they class it, I think, as elevated horror, whereas, you know, they're trying to make it sort of, I don't know what they're trying to make it. All I know is most of them, I get to the end of them and I either don't understand them or can't figure out what the hell I've been watching. And they're certainly nowhere near as good as they used to be. One example, Night Swim from Bloomhouse. Watched that a few weeks ago. Oh, the late great Dave Oliver warned me about this when he says it's bloody terrible, don't bother with it. But I had to see for myself. And sure enough, I think there was one scene in it that I thought was going to turn it for me about halfway through, but it just fizzled out into nothing. It's one that I will never watch again. And that's the way it is with most horror movies nowadays. Apart from movies like Infested, which I watched last night, which I mentioned earlier on, the one about the spiders, which was really good. It was a straightforward, balls to the wall horror movie that preyed on one of man's greatest fears, which is spiders. The ending was perfectly straightforward. There was nothing artsy about it. It just finished how I would like it to have finished. And that's why I don't bother much with horror movies nowadays. I will watch them, obviously, but as we said earlier with Late Night with the Devil, I think Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, was talking about it, and he was telling me that he doesn't think I'll like the ending. It's a little bit confusing. It's nothing new. It really isn't. I will watch it because the movie itself looks amazing, but now I'll be going in with my eyes open. Knowing full well that the ending probably won't make any sense, and I will basically just enjoy the ride. But horror is not what it used to be. So Jason, I quite get you with that one. I really do. I got my jumper from a company called Printable. Just Google Jaws or Gremlins Christmas jumpers and it will come up. I didn't do the whole Christmas jumper thing last year, and I would love to do it. And if they're selling them for a fraction of the price, with it being sort of early part of the year, I may just invest. I would love a Star Wars one. I would absolutely love a Star Wars Christmas jumper. So I will take a look at that and see what I reckon to it. I mean, it seems pointless waiting till sort of November till they shoot up in price. If they're going for stupid prices now, might as well grab one now. So I'll take a look at that, Jace. That's all from me this week. Keep up the good work. Enjoy your Sunday. P.S. I bet you don't have to actually edit much of my comments because I'm a stickler for commas and inverted commas and capital letters for names and movies. You certainly are, and I've not had to amend absolutely anything on yours this week, not at all. So thanks for that, Jace. Much appreciated. Always good to hear from you, mate. And your Never Seen It thread for this week. What a classic. Suspect from 1987. A judge commits suicide and his secretary is found murdered. A homeless deaf-mute man, Carl Anderson, is arrested for the murder. Public defender Kathleen, played by Cher, brilliantly, is assigned by the court as his lawyer. She sets out to find the real killer and gets help from the congressional advisor, Eddie Sanger, I believe that's Dennis Quaid, who is called to be on the jury panel. Together they discover a dangerous circle of corruption in high places. I remember the trailer for this very well and wanting to see it very badly, and it absolutely lived up to expectations. It is one that I would love to see again. I haven't seen it since it first came out, so that's what, nearly 40 years? So yeah, that is one that I want to take in. Uport really enjoyed this. So much so, I ordered the DVD next day so that I have my own physical copy to watch again. I saw this all the time on the video shelf. I think it had a red plastic case too. It did, it absolutely did. I remember it well. I remember it coming in. And it was always out. It was one of those movies that I think word of mouth got sort of the reputation of the movie started. And it was really, it just took off. And it was, I say, it was never on the shelf. I did see it eventually. I caught it on one night when it was in. Nobody had taken it out, so I took it home and had a watch and absolutely loved it. Let's see. I didn't even pick it up to read what it was about. It was only a few weeks ago that I read what it was about and loved it. So glad you enjoyed that one, Jason. I'm looking forward to finding out what your movie is for next week. And it's good to know that it's going to carry on till at least Christmas. I love this thread, as I've said before, so keep it going as long as you can. So, right, latest episode of Higgis. It was to do with the Mad Max franchise. Great episode, guys. You were mentioned, Callie, that there's a Hellraiser, the Hellraiser reboot from 2 years ago. I haven't seen it yet. I do want to watch it. I remember the original, obviously, from 1987. A really gnarly, nasty little film that was. Really good, though. Apparently, there's a sequel to the reboot coming soon. Reboot. reboot coming soon. So maybe I do need to take that movie in so that I'm ready for the sequel when that comes. You were also talking about the Alien movies. You've seen the first three. I've seen the first four. I've not gone beyond that yet, though. I've not seen Prometheus. I've not seen Alien Covenant. I believe there was another one. Can't remember what it was now. But you were telling me that Alien Covenant is a complete shit show. Is it really that bad? I do remember seeing the trailer to that and thinking, blimey, it looks like they're back on course, because obviously I'd heard that the franchise had derailed a bit, but didn't think much of it because they're always saying things like that. People don't like sequels, but a lot of people don't like sequels and reboots and stuff like that. So I didn't take too much notice of it. So I grabbed a copy on Blu-ray, as I have done with the others, but I've not watched them yet, so I need to take those in. But I do remember seeing the trailer for Alien Covenant and thinking it looked really good. So I'll let you know when I've watched it what I think of it. You were also talking about the Predator reboot movie Prey, which premiered on was it Prime last year or Netflix? I can't remember which one it was now. I do remember really enjoying it. Again, I've only seen the original Predator, the Schwarzenegger movie from '87. That's the only one of that franchise I've seen. I've not seen Predator 2 or AVP, as they call it, Alien versus Predator. I've not seen any of those. So none of the sequels I've seen. But I did watch Prey and really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a completely original approach to the franchise. It was just something different, and it was like a breath of fresh air. Really, really enjoyed it. And apparently there's a sequel to that coming, hopefully later this year, that's going to be set in World War One. So I'm going to be curious to see where they take it with that. So yeah, looking forward to that. And apparently I'm also the recipient of yet another award, the Golden Pineapple Award. I don't know where that one came from. Pineapples, for those that don't know, are Callie's weapon of choice. Don't ask me what she does with them, but take it from me, it bloody hurts. I'm on a roll here. So what award is next? What am I going to be up for next? I look forward to finding out. Let's see. Fallout. You were also talking about Fallout, and this one's come up before. Jason K, our Ginger Ninja, was talking about it, and basically saying what you said is that you don't have to have seen the you don't have to have played the game to enjoy the series. So it is one that I'll be taking in, and as soon as I've tied up some of my loose ends series wise and movie wise, I'll be moving on to that one. So I will be adding that to the ever-growing watch list on Prime. So right, and on the Mad Max series, you were talking about that. Interesting bit of trivia. Now, I didn't know this. Apparently the budget for the original Mad Max was $400,000, and it's taken over $100 million. My God, that is some serious money for a low budget, sort of independent Australian movie. You can't fault it, can you? And you can see why. And the best scene in it, as far as I'm concerned, I agree with Guy, the toe cutter chase at the beginning. It was just 15 minutes of pure adrenaline. Bit like Raiders of the Lost Ark when I first saw that. You get to the end of the first 15 minutes and it's like, fucking hell, wow, that was brilliant. What on earth is going to come next? And it was one of those. So yeah, I did enjoy the first one. Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, not so much, but I think I need to give it another go. I really do. All I need to know is there's a there's a 4K box set out, and if I'm going to watch this franchise again in readiness for Furiosa when it comes out very shortly, I just need to know whether the 4K box set is worth the money. Is it worth upgrading to 4K on this? Chris, you could probably answer this because I believe you've got it, and if I trawled through your videos I could probably find a review of them. But I just need to know whether they are worth the upgrade, because I'm seriously thinking of getting them on 4K if I'm going to watch them all again. But I do think I need to give Mad Max 2 another go, definitely. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, loved it. Tina Turner was amazing. We Don't Need Another Hero is by far one of my favourite soundtrack songs. Never get bored of it. Absolutely brilliant. And I have seen all the Mad Max movies, by the way, as Guy told you. I have seen them all. Fury Road, Guy, you didn't like it. You weren't keen because it hadn't got Mel in it. And we were talking about recasting. Do you know what? As you said, Callie, it either works or it doesn't. Whenever you recast a popular character like Max, Bond, anything like that, you are always going to have people, including me at some point, that will say it's not going to be the same without such and such in it. And you always run the risk of alienating the audience that you've built up with the first few movies by recasting it. But I've got to admit, Tom Hardy did not do a bad job. He wasn't Mel Gibson, but he wasn't trying to be. So, yeah, I do get that. I absolutely get that. Recasting is always not a dodgy thing to do, but it's always a risky thing to do. And it's a brave move. It really is, because you throw in something new at people that they're generally not ready for. And as I say, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I remember hearing about Daniel Craig being cast as Bond and thinking, who the hell is he? I don't even know who he is. That can never work. And look what happened. Absolutely brilliant. Probably one of the best Bonds ever. Looking forward to finding out who the next one's going to be so that I can say, who the hell's he? Because I will do. I didn't know there were 2 more films coming, by the way. I know about Furiosa, obviously, because that's literally a few days away. But apparently there's another one ready to go called Wasteland. No release date, so that's probably a couple of years down the line. But I will definitely take a look at it. Let's see. I mean, you were talking about dystopian movies, dystopian future movies generally, and you mentioned one that I remember seeing coming into the video shop very, very well. Remember looking at the sleeve and seeing who starred in it. The sleeve, the artwork, it just looked utterly ridiculous. And it starred Rowdy Roddy Piper, who was a wrestler for the WWF at the time. And I thought, well, that's going to be a load of crap. I wasn't overly keen on They Live, which he also starred in, even though it was a John Carpenter movie. It didn't do much for me. Although saying that, I bumped into the first 10 minutes of it on Talking Pictures TV, I believe, a few nights ago, and watched probably the first quarter of an hour and thought, I think I need to give this one another go. I'm quite enjoying this. It was quite late, so I did tend to fall asleep, so I didn't see the end of it. But I will be getting a copy of that again and taking a look at it. But Hell Comes to Frogtown, it just put me off. As soon as I saw that he was in it, and the artwork being so bloody ludicrous, I thought that's never going to work. I don't like the look of that. But now you've mentioned it, and with enjoying the first few minutes of They Live again, I actually wouldn't mind a look at Hell Comes to Frogtown. So I'm going to try and track a copy of that down. I'll take a look at it and let you know what I think. So yeah, thanks for that one, guys. A brilliant episode. Looking forward to seeing what next week says. That's the Blu-ray box set that I've currently got of Mad Max. This is the anthology. This is the first 4 movies. As with all these box sets, it's going to be outdated within a few days when Furiosa comes out, and it'll be outdated again when Wasteland comes out. So I might as well, if I'm going to get this sort of thing on 4K, maybe I should hang on until the whole lot comes out. But as I say, let me know whether the 4K box set is worth it, whether it is a worthy upgrade to this one. But I have seen all of these. So, right, what's next? Let's see. Here we go. Big news broke this week. Well, for me anyway. One of my favourite movies is being released on 4K. I believe, Chris, you put this one on. This news absolutely made my day. The movie stars Candice Bergen, Peter Strauss and Donald Pleasance. It was made in 1970. It caused such a ruckus with the censors on both sides of the Atlantic. And it's this one. Soldier Blue. It's being released on 4K in July. It's looking like it's an uncut version. There are many different versions of this movie out there. One of them, I believe, is 103 minutes, so there's over 10 minutes cut out of it. This version that I've got is an import, a German import. It's uncut at 115 minutes. Is it 100? Yeah. and I believe the 4K that's coming out in July is the same running time. I do need to confirm this before I actually buy it, even though that I will almost certainly get it, because I'm guessing this looks awesome in 4K. But it would be nice to get a completely uncut version. I mean, this has got such a checkered history with censors on both sides of the Atlantic. It was controversial as hell when it came out. For those of you that don't know what it is, obviously it's a Western, as you can see on here. It was billed as one of the most savage Westerns ever made, as was The Wild Bunch when that came out. But this dials it up to 11. The violence is just horrendous in this. It begins for the first probably hour and 45 minutes as a pretty standard, fairly gritty, violent Western. It becomes completely savage and nasty within the last 15 minutes, and it's all to do with a cavalry raid on an Indian village, which is just horrifying to watch. I mean, this shocked the hell out of me the first time I saw it. I believe it was on magnetic VHS, the magnetic label. I believe it was on there, and I remember watching that and thinking, my God, this is awful. And it still holds up now. I've watched this Blu-ray probably once, and that last 15 minutes, it literally takes your breath away. It is so awful, so bad. No wonder the Americans get so arsey when you start referring to things like this in their history, because it's not something to be proud of. It's an awful sequence, it really is. It lasts for about 10-15 minutes, and it is just relentlessly horrible. So, as I say, if it's going to be released on 4K and it's going to be uncut, I will definitely 100% be ordering a copy of that, just to see what it looks like in 4K. But if you've not seen this, and you like sort of movies like I do that were controversial in the day and caused problems with the censors, all that kind of thing, you don't get more controversial than Soldier Blue. It's a nasty film. I mean, this is classed as a 15 in Germany, as you can see at the bottom there. But this will absolutely 100% be an 18 when it's released. It was a certificate X, obviously, when it first came out in the UK, and it was R-rated in the US. There are scenes floating about out there somewhere that were cut and never reinstated, basically because when it got its premiere, when it got a preview screening ahead of its premiere, it caused walkouts, so they had to trim, I think it was 3 or 4 different scenes out of it to get it anywhere close to sort of an R rating, which is the adult rating in America. So whether those scenes will resurface at any point, I don't know, but we shall see. But this is out in July, and if you've not had a chance to watch it, and if you've got a passing interest in movies that cause problems with the BBFC and the MPAA, this is one to watch without a doubt. So, right, I'm going to take another quick break. I'll be back in a few seconds with a few things that I've been spending my hard-earned money on. Back in a sec. And we're back. Right, we're into the home stretch, guys. I was determined to bring this in under an hour, but the best laid plans and all that. So I'll just run through a few bits that I've been spending my hard-earned cash on this week. Start with the magazines as usual. Latest issue of Doctor Who magazine. Not many clues as to what's in that. A few bits on the back, but I can't say a lot of that makes any sense to me. Latest issue of Total Film, which is the May issue. That looks like Furiosa on the front, so looking forward to getting to grips with that one. Latest issue of Scream, which you've got articles on The Reptile, which was a Hammer movie set in Cornwall. Zoltan, Hound of Dracula, personal favourite of mine, that one. Critters, Abigail, which is the vampire ballerina. The Alligator People, love that movie. 80s shockers you may have missed, that'll be interesting. And Joan Collins, Scream Queen, I love Joan Collins, so looking forward to that. Also a massive article by the looks of it on Doug Bradley about Pinhead, and the latest issue of Film Stories magazine, which is mostly independent movies, small budget movies, that kind of thing. So looking forward to getting to grips with those. We were talking about Ealing Studios last week. Sorry, I'm trying to keep central on this bloody thing. Here we go. Ealing Studios. I was basically saying that I'd not seen, or to the best of my knowledge, I've not seen an Ealing movie all the way through. I know of them: The Lavender Hill Mob, Hue and Cry, Kind Hearts and Coronets, The Man in the White Suit. I don't think I've seen any of them. So I thought I needed to educate myself a little bit on Ealing Studios. So got this: The Secret Life of Ealing Studios, Britain's favourite film studio. This is basically going to run right the way from the start of the studio, its origins and all that sort of thing, detailing all the movies and the stars that pass through it, right up to the demise. So I'm looking forward to getting to grips with that, and also reading about a lot of the movies that I've not actually seen but I'm determined to see. So yeah, looking forward to getting to grips with that. Now some Blu-rays. Just move these over. Here we go. Start with this one. Now, if you've seen Chris's video this week, he had one of these sets through as well. It's the latest from Rob's Nostalgia Project, which I follow quite closely on his Facebook page and on his website. He does a magnificent job of basically restoring older movies, older TV programs, and releasing them on Blu-ray. The latest one is his censorship box set. It's been done to look like an old VHS tape. It looks gorgeous. It really does look absolutely magnificent. The man takes such care over the work that he does, and he does such a magnificent job. And as Chris says, for 50 quid, what you get is 8 Blu-rays like that. And if I just quickly run through what's on them, let's see, you've got The Forbidden Weekend, which I think was something BBC Two did, probably in the 90s, which was a lot of TV programmes and movies that were sort of X certificate, had trouble with the censors, that kind of thing. So I'm going to love every minute of those. Channel 4 did a similar thing, I think in the early 2000s, called Censored. That is in there as well, the whole of the season. The Incredibly Strange Film Show. That actually is the book that I got the other week. So now I'll be able to see the series that refers to basically the movies that are in this. It was a Jonathan Ross series, as you can see on the back. I didn't see the series, I never watched it. It was screened before I developed an interest in sort of cult movies, rare movies, that kind of thing. But I'm certainly excited to catch up with that now, and obviously the series. You've got Stephen King's World of Horror. Honestly, there are hours and hours and hours of things on this. You've got documentaries, you've got programs, you've got loads and loads of movies, including let's see, you've got Don't Look Now, Evil Dead 2, Zombie Flesh Eaters, Eyes Wide Open, Bad Lieutenant, Salon Kitty, Straw Dogs, A Clockwork Orange. There are just so many movies on there in this set. All sorts, absolutely all sorts. I couldn't be happier with this. And as I say, the level of detail on this thing is just amazing. And as Chris will have shown you as well, you get this lovely little mock Radio Times, which if you open it up, details all the programmes that are in the set, but in the style of an old copy of the Radio Times. How cool does that look? 50 quid, you can't go wrong. I'm looking forward to seeing what he comes up with next. He did a set of 35mm discs, which I grabbed when they came out. I only grabbed the first set, unfortunately, so I do need to grab the rest of them at some point, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what this guy does next. What else have I got here? Beast in the Cellar. This is one of my go-to horror films. If there's nothing else on and I can't find anything, I've got a copy of this that I taped off Talking Pictures TV probably a couple of years ago. I have watched it so many times I must have worn the print out by now. I just love the chemistry between the two leads in this, Flora Robson and Beryl Reid.
and it's just a cracking story. It's typical early 70s British horror, and I absolutely love it. And when I heard this was coming out on Blu-ray, I grabbed a copy of it. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what that looks like on high def. Secret of my success. I thought this was as good, if not better, and I know that's going to be controversial, than Back to the Future. I just thought it was amazing in this, absolutely brilliant. This was on the same page as another one that I'm going to show you in a minute. So I thought, you know what, for $5.99 we'll have a copy of that. I haven't seen it for years. Went the Day Well. This is a wartime drama made around about 1940. What year was it made? Does it say? No, it doesn't say. Or it probably does, but it's in such small print. This was considered propaganda when it first came out during the war years. I've heard a lot about it. Apparently there's some controversial scenes in this, some quite shocking stuff for the time. And I've wanted to see it for ages, and I saw this on Blu-ray on Amazon, so I thought, yeah, I'll grab a copy of that. Brief Encounter. I've seen this so many times. This is Noel Coward's movie about a suburban housewife that falls in love, a married housewife, that falls in love with a doctor, played by Trevor Howard. She's played by Celia Johnson. Classic movie. This is British drama at its absolute best, made about 1945. So again, this would have been quite controversial in its day. I was listening to a podcast this week, the Real Britannia podcast, and they talked about this, and it sort of turned me on to it again because I've not seen it for quite a while. So I went on to Amazon and found this for $5.99, so I thought, yeah, we'll have that. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. David Mansell, you put me onto this one. You asked me whether I'd seen it, and I said no. So I popped over to YouTube, had a look at the trailer, loved the look of it, found this on the same pages as the Secret of My Success for $5.99, so I thought, why not? You've got Sean Penn, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Judge Reinhold and Phoebe Cates. This is a teen movie that I've never seen. I'd kind of heard of it, but I'd never seen it, so I thought, yeah, we'll give that a go. So I'll let you know, David, what I think of that. Far From the Madding Crowd. This stars Terence Stamp, Alan Bates, Peter Finch and Julie Christie. I read the book of this, decades ago, not long after I've left school. I'd never seen a film version of it. I know it's been dramatised on TV quite a few times, but I've never seen this version of it, and apparently this is the definitive version of Far From the Madding Crowd. It's a Thomas Hardy book. Looking forward to getting to grips with that. And finally, A Night to Remember. I'm using the word definitive a lot tonight, I know that, but this is, to me, the definitive account of the Titanic disaster. Yes, James Cameron's movie was good. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet standing on the front of the boat shouting "King of the World," yeah, whatever. This, to me, was the best version. Stars Kenneth More. You've also got, let's see who else is in this. Honor Blackman, Michael Goodliff, David McCallum. There are stars galore in this, and they all drown. So I don't want to spoil the ending for you. But I haven't seen this for ages, and I really, really wanted the chance to watch it. And again, they were talking about this on the Real Britannia podcast that I was listening to probably a couple of weeks ago. Found this on Amazon for $5.99, so I thought, you know what, can't go wrong at that price. So I shall be reacquainting myself with that one at some point very soon. Right, that's it, guys. I don't think there's going to be a video next week. I have to work next Sunday. If, and it is a big if, I get the chance to cobble something together, I will do so, but please don't hold me to it. I will do my best, but if you just take it for the moment that there won't be a video next week, due to the fact that I'm not going to have time to sort of put it together and record it and this, that and the other. Obviously doing 7 days a week, it's not going to work. But if I do happen to, defy this, then I will let you know as soon as I can. But as I say, just take it that there won't be one next week, and I'll be back the week after. But if I do get a chance, I will put something together for you, but don't rely on it, please. Thanks ever so much for joining me, folks. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe and all that. Have a brilliant week. And God willing, I will see you in 2 weeks' time, hopefully sooner, but take it that it will be 2 weeks' time. Have a brilliant couple of weeks, folks, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Ta-da.